Officially, good morning and welcome to Aspire's first Achieving Afterschool virtual celebration. I am Christy Cole, Aspire's past board chair and current member of the board. Please say hello and type your name in the chat and let us know where you're joining us from today. I'll mention a few quick housekeeping items. As I mentioned earlier, while this is a webinar, we are unable to see you, but we still welcome your comments and questions in the chat, and we'll make some time for those at the end of today's discussion. So I could not be more excited to introduce you this morning to Paula Fynboh. Paula is Aspire's new executive director. She came to Aspire from Sandy Hook Promise, where she worked for 7 years as the VP of Program Delivery and Sustainability. She led Sandy Hook in developing their advocacy and educational programs to address gun violence in communities across the country. Prior to that, Paula devoted an entire career to grassroots organizing in order to address some of the very biggest challenges facing our communities. And we could not be more excited that Paula has joined us here in Arlington at Aspire to help our community address one of the biggest challenges that we're facing today, the opportunity gap. When I see the arc of Paula's career, I see a lifelong dedication and passion for grassroots organizing and strengthening a community. And I also see in her, in these first months that she's been on the job at Aspire, that she brings a tremendous source of calm to the staff and to the kids and families that we serve. And she has brought a real second wind to our organization as we look to move out of this pandemic and to wrap around our kids and our community and to help them realize their potential. So without further ado, I would like to turn the floor over to Paula to say a few words, and then we are going to have a very fun interview so that you all can learn a bit more about Paula this morning. Thank you again for being here, and take it away, Paula.
Thank you so much, Christy, for that warm welcome. And thank you to everyone that is joining us today. And as Christy said, I so wish I had the chance to actually see you in person and introduce myself. And thank you for your support. But unfortunately, the pandemic had different plans for our fall celebration. So we've shifted our celebration to a virtual format, and we're going to be spending the next 4 weeks celebrating what it means to achieve after school. We put a lot of thought into our name of the annual event this year, the Achieving Afterschool Celebration, and what that means to our students, to our families, and to our greater community. And I couldn't be more excited to kick off our month-long of Achieving Afterschool Celebration with you all this morning. Thank you for joining us for this event and for a month-long dedication to celebrate the achievements and potential of our students, and also the powerful impact that expanded learning time has in helping all of our students succeed. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Well, now let's get started. Paula, we are so excited to welcome you to this role and to Arlington, but please share a little bit about yourself. And if you don't mind, tell us the moment you knew that Aspire was where you wanted to be.
Wow. So I had the opportunity to hear from a couple of Aspire families during my interview process. And there was one moment that especially sticks out in my mind, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. And that was hearing a parent talk about how she couldn't afford a private tutor for her daughter. She wasn't able herself to provide the hands-on support her daughter needed during distance learning due to technology and language challenges. She was also an essential worker, and she was just feeling so stressed out that her daughter wasn't getting the support she needed in school. And then she found Aspire. And the mom went on to share that her daughter was met every day at the front of our building by an Aspire staff member that received her daughter with joy. And despite all of that stress, the mom felt such an immense amount of dignity during that difficult time for her family in dropping her off at Aspire that every day. And when I heard that, it was that moment where I just knew I wanted to be part of Aspire. I knew Aspire was a special place, and I wanted to be part of bringing that same joy and that same dignity to the families and the students that we serve and that come through our doors every day. And I've been here almost 100 days now, and I still get that feeling when I walk through Aspire's door, seeing the bright, sunny space. It feels like home, and it feels like home for our students too. I often hear them talk about Aspire as their second home. And I'm so humbled and grateful every day walking into Aspire and seeing how Aspire's donors and our partnership with Arlington County allows us to operate in this beautiful space, that we were able to keep this beautiful space open over the last year when schools were closed. And it makes me really believe with all my heart that there's nothing we can accomplish together between our community, our students, the support we have, our donors, to erase the opportunity gap and really give our students the full opportunities that they deserve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we decided to we decided to interject a little bit of fun into this interview, Paula. So get ready. Some of our students provided some questions to ask you. And I'll pose the first question from the students now. Reading, of course, is a big part of the learning time at Aspire. And the kids wanted to know about your favorite book, the book that made the biggest impact on you when you were growing up.
That's a great question. When I was a kid, like our Aspire students, I loved really any book by Shel Silverstein. And there's one book he wrote in particular, Where the Sidewalk Ends. And there's a quote in there that goes something like, there's a space where the sidewalk ends and before the road begins. And I loved that as a kid. Thinking back to reading that in my bedroom, for me, that crack, or that space was really, it didn't feel like a scary space, that space between where the sidewalk and the road end, but rather it was a place of imagination and potential and opportunity and curiosity. And thinking back on that quote really reminds me of Aspire and where we are today. I think that crack could be seen as a division or an obstacle, but Aspire is filling it with hope and an opportunity to learn and discover, to plant seeds for the future and to really grow and lift our students to be all that they aspire to be.
Absolutely. So speaking of our kids, what is one of your favorite things that the kids do every day, and what difference do you see it making?
Great question. I love that our students receive at least 30 minutes of dedicated reading time a day. They get this dedicated reading time along with homework help, a meal, social emotional problem solving time, also group activities. So around STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, where they get to work on experiments together. And all of those really make up the core of Aspire's program. Well, I think one of the things that I love most about working with Aspire, especially after working nationally and internationally, is seeing how direct Aspire's impact is. Aspire is able to provide this very individualized, hands-on, tangible progress and support to our students. In that, I see that impact every day with our students, our families, and in the Arlington community. And whether it's a student learning a new vocabulary word, or being able to process a difficult emotion that they're feeling that day, or being able to problem solve with others. All of those steps, all of those small victories add up. And each year, over 90% of Aspire students improve their reading level. And I think that's amazing. I am very proud of that for our students. Learning levels, especially reading in that critical 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, are a key determinant to high school graduation. And every day at Aspire, our students are taking the steps forward to fulfill their full potential.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we celebrate the small victories along the way at Aspire, for sure. And this brings us to another question from the kids who earn stickers from making good choices and modeling good behaviors. And they would like to know what you would pick from the sticker store.
Oh my gosh, I love the sticker store. I would either choose one of those like squishy,
They're the thing, the squishmallows.
Yes, the squishmallow stress balls. I would get one of those, or I also really like these shiny metallic pencils that we have, because I love brand new writing instrument and all the potential that feels when you write with something for the very first time.
Absolutely. So Paula, you got started with Aspire over the summer during an unprecedented time. And what did you see at that time were the greatest needs of our students?
Sure. So when I joined Aspire, Aspire's summer program, if you can believe it, this past year, coming out of the pandemic, we set near record attendance in the summer program. And what that said to me is that, the need and demand for Aspire's programs, for the high quality academic support, is at an all-time high, especially for families who can't afford private tutors or pay for summer camps. And while over 90% of Aspire students receive free or reduced lunch, about 97% of Aspire students are students of color. About half, over 50% of our students speak Spanish at home. And across total enrollment in Aspire programs, our students represent 6 different languages spoken at home. I think the most important statistic for me is that 100%, all of our students have dreams and potential. But unfortunately, race, income level, language plays too much of a role in determining a child's ability to achieve. And that is what Aspire means when we talk about the opportunity gap. And that opportunity gap has increased, with the pandemic and school closures. Some experts and education researchers are predicting that those same, kids that come to Aspire who might not have English spoken in their home, who might not be from, or who might be from low-income families, might lose an additional 9 months of learning due to the pandemic compared to their middle-income peers. And what I think is so exceptional, and it's still hard for me to wrap my head around and believe, that Aspire remains the only program accessible for low-income 3rd through 5th grade students here in Arlington. And what I saw in our summer program is that our work is needed now more than ever. And in our summer program, we were able to provide focused support in literacy and math, group STEM projects, social and emotional activities like art and creative writing and play and walks outside in nature. And that prepared the students for being able to go back to school after a year of school closures, and help them be in the place where they can soak up and make up for that missed learning time and continue on the track to achieving their full potential.
Absolutely. One of the things I read last week, Paula, is that for our 3rd graders, in Arlington, the last quote unquote normal year of school was first grade. And so they have not had, I mean, it's been actually, and that's not even right. It was kindergarten was the last full year that they had. And so when we think about those building blocks that Aspire was able to put in place over the summer, it's really critical for the on-ramp into the school year. Now, I know one of the kids' favorite things to do are the guilds that we offer at Aspire. And so this is our third question from the kids. They want to know what guild you would choose.
Oh, this is a tough one. So I loved hearing from students who were part of our Civics Hero Guild. In this guild, students had a chance to learn about inspiring scientists and writers and authors and other change makers who reflect their community, who reflect the racial, ethnic, and cultural background of our students. And it's so important for our students and for all young people to see themselves reflected in others who are doing great things. Representation matters, and representation provides our students with, a living example, something that they can touch and feel that just tells them that they too can be all that they want to be and all they aspire to be, whether that is seeing themselves reflected in one of our AmeriCorps members and wanting to pursue a career of service, or maybe they want to be a teacher like Aspire alumni Angel, who is featured in our video, or another Aspire alumni who's working on immigration policy right now in Washington, D.C. The possibilities are really endless for our students, and they deserve to see and believe that they can do great things.
Absolutely. So Paula, now that the kids are back to school, what are you most excited about as Aspire grows and adapts to meet the urgent needs that our kids have this fall?
Wow, there's so much Aspire is doing right now that I am excited about, and I'm so grateful for the amazing foundation that Courtney Reeve, our former executive director, the board, all of our donors and staff have built. And we are in an amazing place to, build on that foundation. So one of the things that's really exciting me right now is that we're currently placing our AmeriCorps members back into our 6 partnering Arlington Public elementary schools. And so this was a partnership that was paused because of the pandemic when schools were closed. And now we're able to open this up again. So our schools can't make up for the lost learning time alone. And having our AmeriCorps members back in the school gives us a chance to provide additional support, extra tutoring, and it helps bridge the holistic part of a child's life. It connects them to school, to after school, and home in their home, in their community. And that is really exciting to me. I am also super excited that we're reopening our 2 affordable housing partners sites with Virginia Gardens through our partnership with AHC and at Gilliam Place with APA. Through these partnerships, we're able to provide academic support to even more students, and students participating at those sites are able to get that support right where they live, which reduces barriers to transportation for both them and their families. I'm also really excited, Christy, as you mentioned, 3rd graders, that their last normal year was really kindergarten. We have an amazing group of students who've transitioned to middle school under the pandemic, and that transition has been really hard for them. And so we're piloting a middle school program this year at Arlington Mill Community Center, where we're able to provide that additional hands-on support so our middle schoolers aren't left behind and that they can continue to achieve and be all that they aspire to be. And I think, last but certainly not least, I'm also really excited that we're able to open our doors for our Parent Connection program again. We have 2 exciting parent nights coming up where we're partnering with Doorways and Thrive, which are 2 great Arlington nonprofits. And just a couple of weeks ago, we were able to welcome parents back into our space for the very first time since March of 2020. And you should have seen it. Our students just beamed. They were so proud to walk into Aspire with their parents and show their parents our classroom or a piece of art that they made that's on our wall, or a book report, or something that they wrote that's hanging in display. The pandemic was extremely challenging for many of us, but especially for Aspire families. And last year we had students come into the program who were over 20 assignments behind. But by the end of school, before we started our summer program, they were caught up. And I am just so, truly proud and really inspired by these kids who do such amazing things despite the obstacles in front of them. And I'm so excited that we're able to continue to build on the work of previous years and provide this robust, hands-on academic support to our students every day.
Awesome. Paula, I cannot tell you how much I love hearing your enthusiasm for the work that we do at Aspire. And in particular, as I reflect back on some of the things that you've said today, I just think about how wonderfully you are in the moment with the kids. You're at the sticker store, you're learning about their guilds, you're hands-on with kids and with parents, and then also thinking very strategically about our partnerships in the community and how we really navigate to address some of the big challenges that we face. So I thank you so much for that and for sharing a bit about yourself with us today and helping the community get to know you better. We certainly wish we could all be in person and have an opportunity to really have conversation. I do want to open up the floor if any of our guests today have any questions for Paula. We'd love to field some of those. And so if you have any questions, please send them through in the chat. Let's see. I'm looking, I'm not seeing anything yet, but we'll give you just a minute.
I can piggyback on what you shared, Christy. Thank you so much for those very kind words. But I've been able to join an amazing team, and the entire staff and our AmeriCorps members at Aspire also just inspire me every day. And as a team, we're able to do so much together.
Absolutely. Well, we seem to have a quiet group enjoying their coffee and getting ready for the next part of their morning. But I do want to close out by thanking, oh, wait a minute. No, I see one coming. Hold on, let me get over to I navigated away from the chat and now, here we go. Let me get it back. Oh, how many students do we have now and how many do we intend to have?
We currently have close to 70 students, and we intend to have by the end of the year closer to 100 as we're able to follow social distancing guidelines as well.
Incredible. We have another one here. For those who don't know Aspire, can you explain how services are provided and who are the AmeriCorps?
Sure. So we have a very talented and robust program team that works every day. Our AmeriCorps members go into our partner schools during the day and after school between the hours of roughly 2 to 6. All of our students get individualized support from our program staff and AmeriCorps members. They focus, during the times that they're with us on the individual reading, homework help, social emotional support, and have some fun, sprinkled throughout the day as well. And our AmeriCorps members are made possible by a grant and partnership we have that allows us to be able to serve even more students in the community.
We'll see a follow-up here. What is the age range of the students that we serve?
We serve students in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So starting around 9 years old, going up to about 12 years old. And as I mentioned, this year, we do also have our middle school cohort at Arlington Mills, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Right. And another question, Paula, what are your top 3 challenges going forward?
Great question. I think our top 3 challenges are reducing or eliminating the opportunity gap so that the factors that I mentioned earlier don't play a role in a young person's ability to achieve. And with the pandemic, making sure that we can grow to meet the needs of the students who need them the most. I think another challenge is during this time of the pandemic is how do we serve more students while also keeping students safe? And I think the third is, building holistic connections in a time when so many community organizations and schools have had to be social distance, to make sure that students feel that support, not only when they're in Aspire, but in their schools and in their communities, and that their families have those resources as well.
Sure. Social emotional learning has always been a priority at Aspire, but I think it has even greater emphasis now that kids have had such a difficult time in the past year and a half. All right, let's see. I think we have time for one more. You mentioned a few locations. Can you explain what locations you have? So I know you're at Arlington Mill, but what are the other locations?
Sure. So Arlington Mill is our main headquarters. We have a beautiful building there in a partnership with Arlington County Parks and Recreation, where we see our largest cohort of students every day after school. We also have a partnership with AHC at Virginia Gardens, where we also see students who live at Virginia Gardens. And it's really cool because some of the middle schoolers there will come in and help tutor or read to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders we have there. And then new this year is Gilliam Place. That is an existing partnership that we've had with APA, but we're now at Gilliam Place in their new beautiful building. So we're able to see and support even more students there.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for your wonderful questions, and Paula for sharing so much with us about your new role at Aspire and all the wonderful things that are going on there this school year. I want to thank you all again for joining us and welcome you to register for our upcoming next 2 virtual events. The links to register are being shared in the chat. You can join our Values in Action discussion on October 12th from 4 p.m. to 4:45, and we'll be discussing the opportunity gap in greater depth and talking about what you can do today to ensure that Arlington's underserved children have the opportunity to succeed. We'll be joined by some special guests, including Tanya Talento, former chair of the Arlington Public School Board and Aspire board member, Aspire alumnus Angel Lopez Soto, who is an Arlington public school teacher. He was featured in our Aspire Achieving After School video, if you had an opportunity to view the video. And Carlos Ramirez, the principal of Randolph Elementary School. Additionally, on October 19th at 10 a.m., we'll be joined by Aspire parent Carolina Galto, who many of you saw speak way back in the before times at our 2019 annual event. She is back to give us an update and to share more about the dreams and aspirations of Aspire students and their families. And you'll learn there how you can help these students realize their full potential. We are so grateful too for those who have been contributing to our Achieving After School Celebration. We have 60 plus supporters already who are helping us meet the urgent needs of our students. And we are getting closer. We've raised just about $35,000, getting closer and closer to our $110,000 goal. There are so many ways to support Aspire, and if you have not done so, we invite you to make a difference through a donation today. And the link to give is posted in the chat. Thank you all so much. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, everyone.